Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Amedio602, and today we're going to talk about the new Fireteam Elimination mode in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Fireteam Elimination.
First, we're going to cover the heads-up display that you get in Fireteam Elimination. Then we're going to move on to the rules of engagement for this mode. Then I'm going to talk about the different equipment that you can and cannot get in this mode. After that, we're going to cover some general tips and tricks for the mode, and then finally we're going to move on to my personal thoughts and opinions on this mode. Kicking it right off, you've got the heads-up display, and this is a pretty standard heads-up display for any Call of Duty title. You've got your weapon and ammo count down in the bottom right. Your teammates are in the bottom left. You can see there your health is in white, the armor plates that you have installed are in blue, and you've got a mini-map on the top left. On the left side of the screen, where it shows the number of friendly and enemy players, you've also got the redeploy timer, and I want to take a little bit of time to explain this section of the HUD because it was pretty confusing for me. Just below the minimap, you've got the total number of teammates. If the circle is filled in light blue, then that teammate is still alive, and if it's dark blue, then that teammate is dead and waiting to redeploy. Below that, you've got the number of enemy players that are currently alive. As far as I know, this interface does not show the number of teams, and that's one of the shortcomings of this particular interface. Below the number of enemies, you've got the redeploy timer. On the left side, you've got a number which indicates the total number of players waiting for redeploy. These could be friendly or enemy. It doesn't matter, they both get combined. And on the right, you've got a countdown timer, and when this gets to 0, all those players are going to be brought back to life in parachute. It's definitely worth mentioning that if you bleed out with about 1 or 2 seconds left, that's not going to be enough time to get redeployed. So if you're going to bleed out, I would recommend having at least 4 or 5 seconds on the redeploy timer when you do so. Returning from Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and Modern Warfare 2019, you've also got a compass in the top center of the screen. And just like in Warzone, you've got your armor plates down in the bottom left. Also appearing in the bottom left, you've got the number of redeploy tickets that you have remaining, and if you've found a radiation vest, you've got the durability that's remaining on your radiation vest. Basically, that acts like a gas mask from Warzone. On the right side of the screen will be your score streak if you have any available. And in the very top left of my screen, you can see I've got FPS, server latency, packet loss, GPU temperature, GPU time, and CPU time. Those are all optional overlays in the game if you're playing on PC. For those of you who are subscribed to me, you know I'm a pretty technical nerd, so I like to have all that stuff displayed. And if you're not subscribed, now is the perfect opportunity to go ahead and hit a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss out on any of my nerdy videos. Next, we're going to cover some of the rules of Fireteam Elimination. First and foremost, the game takes about 10 minutes. It's very fast compared to what I would like to call a full battle royale like Fortnite or Warzone. And this mode is very similar to Alcatraz from Blackout. You have about 40 players on the map. Each team has up to 4 players, so you're going to have around 10 teams. But don't worry, there are plenty of kills to go around because each player spawns in with 5 redeploy tickets. And just like in Alcatraz from Blackout, those redeploys can be used until the very end of the game when it pops up and says no more redeploys. Right now you might be thinking this is just a copy-paste of Alcatraz, but it's not. And the very first significant difference from Alcatraz is that you spawn into the game with a base MP5. This makes for some interesting dynamics at the beginning of the game. The base MP5 is perfectly serviceable at close ranges, although at longer ranges it has too much recoil to be effective, but it's a great backup weapon for close quarter situations. Also, because every player spawns with an MP5 and everyone gets 5 redeploy tickets, there are MP5s laying around all over the ground, so it's really easy to get ammo for this weapon. Another unique feature of Fireteam Elimination is that we have radiation and not gas. And you might say, well, they're pretty much the same thing, they kill you if you stand in it too long, and that's true to an extent. In most traditional Battle Royale games, you have to move from circle to circle, and each circle gets smaller and smaller. In Fireteam Elimination, things are a little bit different because you don't have to move from circle to circle. There are these small nuclear icons that appear, and anytime a nuke appears, then that means that that particular area of the map is going to be covered in radiation. But it doesn't move around in a circular pattern like you might be used to with Warzone or Fortnite. In fact, in one of the games I was in, the radiation came from the left and the right side of the map, forcing everyone into the middle. It's still far too soon to tell how often that sort of thing's going to happen, but it did make for some interesting gameplay variety. The radiation's also pretty sneaky and a lot harder to see than a typical Battle Royale circle. And what I mean by harder to see is in Warzone, it's pretty obvious where the storm is and where the storm isn't. In this game, you should have no problem shooting through the radiation at other players, but at the same time it's a little bit frustrating because it can be really hard to tell when you are out of the radiation. By the way, when you are in the radiation and taking damage, there will be a white arrow that appears on your minimap that shows you the quickest way to get out of that radiation to avoid taking any more damage. As far as the radiation's damage, I felt like the radiation did just the right amount of damage. It wasn't as deadly as, say, the storm in Warzone, but it wasn't an absolute joke like the first circle in Blackout. Kudos to Treyarch. I think you did a great job with the radiation in this mode. The last ground rule of the game to talk about is the win conditions. Just like in a normal Battle Royale game, you can be the last team standing and claim victory. In Fireteam Elimination, there's also a small exfiltration area that your team can capture, similar to a domination point, to claim the win. Moving on to the equipment, I'm going to make a very bold statement up front. The equipment feels more like a pure Battle Royale than Warzone, and the reason for that is that there are no loadouts. While we're talking about things that Warzone has that Fireteam Elimination does not have, there are no contracts on the ground, there are no buy stations, and there is no gulag. On the ground, you can find armor plates, and they work just about like what you'd expect if you've ever played Warzone. There are also crates scattered throughout the map, and it seems like an abnormally high percentage of these crates are out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, just like in Fireteam Dirty Bomb. By the way, if you're looking for a gameplay guide similar to this one on Fireteam Dirty Bomb, I've got a link to a video in the description. When you open up a crate, you're going to be greeted with loot of varying colors and rarities. Orange weapons are pretty strong. Then you've got blue, green, and gray. You've also got some special items that can come out of the crates. Oh, and one thing I almost forgot, there are also airdrop crates. The airdrop crates drop higher tier loot, but as far as I know, all this loot can be found in the regular crates as well. Some of the special items you can find in these crates include the self-revive, armor vests, which basically act just like an armor satchel in Warzone, the radiation vest that we already talked about earlier, basically that acts like a gas mask from Warzone, and you've also got a variety of tactical and lethal equipment. You can also find quite a few different streaks in different crates. The war machine seems pretty common, UAVs are fairly common, I also saw a death machine once or twice, and higher tier streaks may also be available, but I didn't run into any. As far as weapons, you've got a great weapon variety in Fireteam Elimination. In addition to that starting MP5, I was able to locate an M82 sniper rifle, a FFAR, PPSH, M60, AK. I found quite a few QBZs laying around, and that's really nice because it gives everyone an opportunity to find the weapons that they prefer. Vehicles have also become a staple of Battle Royale games. Fireteam Elimination is no exception. I saw plenty of snowmobiles and dirt bikes. I didn't see any huge vehicles like tanks or Berthas, but that's not to say that we won't see them at some point in the future. That wraps up the equipment, and now we're going to talk about some tips, tricks, and tactics that I've got for you while you're playing Fireteam Elimination. First of all, most of these guns do not have extended mags. Full auto is not your friend. If you just full auto spray and pray at your target, especially if that target's at a long range, there's a really good chance you're going to run out of ammo and they're going to get away. If you're engaging someone at a long distance, you want to be burst firing your weapons and conserving your ammunition. Like I mentioned before, all players spawn in with 5 redeploy tokens, and as long as one member of the squad is surviving, then all of the dead teammates that still have redeploy tokens will be respawning. As a direct result of this, you want to be finishing your kills, and you want to be wiping teams out before that 30-second redeploy timer expires and drops more troops into the area. Armor makes a huge difference in this game, and I feel like more armor is dropping in Fireteam Elimination than we saw in Fireteam Dirty Bomb. So you want to be sure and aim for the head whenever possible, in order to drop enemies as quickly as possible and preserve your armor. The score streaks in this mode are pretty strong. In my first ever game, I actually died to a war machine. We ended up getting second place for the team. So if you find a streak, be sure to pick it up and save it until the end of the game. I already talked a little bit about exfiltrating. If your team is in a good position, or if there are only 1 or 2 stragglers that are preventing you from winning the game, if you can't find them, I would recommend just exfiltrating. A win's a win whether you exfiltrate or get the kill, so why wouldn't you just do the smart thing and exfiltrate? Just like in Fireteam Dirty Bomb, the self-revive in Fireteam Elimination lets you pick yourself up very quickly, so I would strongly recommend using the self-revive as soon as you go down. There's a really good chance you'll be able to pop back up and surprise that enemy because most people just won't be expecting that self-revive to be so fast. As a side note to the self-revive, because there are quite a few of them on the map, you want to finish your kills or anyone else's kills whenever it is safe to do so. My last big tip is to keep an eye on the radiation on your minimap. The radiation seems pretty random to me right now. Keep in mind I've only played a few games of Fireteam Elimination, but it's pretty unpredictable and it can easily sneak up on you because it's not really loud like the storm, And until you're used to the game mechanics and how the radiation works, it's good to just open your map every once in a while to get a big picture view of what's going on around you. I'm going to wrap things up with my overall thoughts on this mode. I really like this mode. I feel like the HUD could use some improvements. I don't understand why we don't have the number of kills displayed somewhere without checking the scoreboard. I also don't really like that the scoreboard and the map are on different screens, and you have to toggle back and forth between them. That's just like Fireteam Dirty Bomb. That always bothered me in that mode. I was not a fan of that. But I really love the idea of the random radiation zones popping up around the map. I think that's far superior to just having a circle that moves and moves and moves. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I love the idea that there are no loadouts. This leads to a lot more benefit in looting, and that's one of my favorite parts of a battle royale. I really enjoy scavenging around the map with whatever I happen to find, without worrying about getting beamed by someone who's got all the best meta guns in their loadout that they got in the first 30 seconds of the game. I feel like this mode plays a whole lot like Alcatraz on the different Fireteam maps, and I really enjoy the fact that there are different maps for this mode. The 900-pound gorilla in the room is also the anti-cheat. Because Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is a pay-to-play premium Call of Duty title and not free-to-play, I feel like we're going to be running into a lot fewer cheaters in this mode, because when an account gets banned, you have to buy a full copy of the game to play some more. It's really cool to have a big battle royale and 100 players or 150 players all duking it out on one giant map, but it's just as much fun to have 40 players playing on one of these Fireteam Elimination maps. It's also a lot of fun to have good conversations down in the comment section down below, so drop me a comment. What do you think about the new Fireteam Elimination mode in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War? And if you'd like to learn more about Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on my future uploads. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you very much for watching.